On today's very first prop tutorial, I'll be showing you guys how to make shoulder armor out of foam. Yeah. So far as shoulder armor goes, it's one of the most necessary pieces of any armor. Why? Not the chest piece, not the back plate, not anything like that. You know why the shoulder piece is important? Because that's what keeps you being able to wield that sword and or gun and or other thing you would hold in your hand against your enemy. The inspiration for this shoulder piece actually comes from two main sources. One is the video game Mass Effect, specifically Mass Effect 3, and then Gears of War 3. Because of the texture, the Gears of War has more of a kind of worn look to it. And then the Mass Effect has kind of a army look, so I wanted to combine the two to really get a nice piece of armor for y'all. Now to make that shoulder piece, this guy right here has been an amazing piece of craft equipment. Craftment. Whatever, it's a piece of foam. The good thing about it is it has a nice smooth surface. It can bend in multiple directions, unlike cardboard, which only has one fold, so that gets kind of a polygonal kind of shape. But then the back, so far as armor goes, it has a bit more of a rough surface to give different textures for armor. So you have more of a plating, and then you have more of a kind of sheet metal look, depending on how you paint it. The first thing first, rip these guys off. Because you don't need them. You may need them for something else, but not for what we're doing today. Shut up, guitar. Cool. Now that the guitar's shut up, the first thing we need to do is actually get our template done. I've already started a shoulder piece for a friend of mine, so I have templates started. Just out of a normal sheet of poster board is totally cool, whatever. You get these, and then you want to find your mechanical pencil. Where did it go? You get the mechanical pencil, you take your template. This one's gonna have to be a lot bigger for me since my friend has a teeny little shoulder. One thing that you have to do for your templates, since it's a shoulder piece and it's gonna be in two parts and it's gonna curve around the shoulder like this, it's got to have a curved surface there. It can't just be a straight line. Otherwise it wouldn't make the curve and make kind of a spherical shape, a nice smooth curve. Once you've got your templates cut out, I decided to modify mine a little bit and add a forearm piece. This will go right under there. And then the shoulder piece, of course, we'll double this so it can have the both sides and get that nice curve to it that we talked about before. But if you can't see these too well, or the detail of them, there will be a link below to a file for these templates so you guys can cut them out, make your own kind of armor, modify it to whatever you want, whatever kind of design, and have fun with it. That's what it's all about. With the templates that you've cut out, you want to transfer them to the foam piece, because the foam piece is where the action is. Gosh, it looks like I'm taking something out of an oven. So we take that, and then you take your Sharpie, because the pencil doesn't transfer very well to this. Take your Sharpie, and then you just trace them out. And remember, there's going to be two of these pieces, and only one of the forearm. Spacing is very important on the foam piece, so you can get a good feel for the amount that you actually have left, so they can use as much of the foam as possible for other kind of crafts or creations that you guys make up. Once you have these drawn out on your foam, you do want to watch out for, especially if you're using Sharpie, that it will act like a stamp and it'll transfer all over your hands. But if you don't care about messes, then who cares? Color the whole thing black. Don't color the whole thing black. Scratch that. You won't see what you've drawn. But after you've drawn it, you want to take your scalpel. I don't have a scalpel. It's a box cutter. Box cutters are for cheap people. I'm cheap. That's why we're using foam and not metal. So we take that and then you start cutting away at it. Butcher that piece of foam into art. I did need to tell you guys something, that once you get your shoulder pieces cut out, since it is going to be a nice curve, or what you want is a nice curve, you have to take and then make a beveled edge on there. And you can either do that while you're cutting in the foam and just tilt your knife to get that, or you can do it in post and very carefully, mind you, get little bit by little bit on there and just try and keep the same angle on your knife as you can all the way through that. And that's where you get that nice little curve to it like that. And it'll work out a lot better once you glue it together too, and I'll show you guys that later. Since I'm guessing that not everyone's shoulder is a triangle, these things are gonna have to be shaped to a shoulder. That's where this comes in handy. This is our heat gun. And this is gonna form this here piece of, not metal, foam. It'll take a while. Just don't get your hand in the way. It's very hot. Once you get it hot enough, you actually want to, in this instance, your knee is the best tool you can have for shaping, since you probably don't have an anvil or shoulder shaped thing. Unless you have a mannequin. Then, however weird that is, that's cool. Then quickly, before it solidifies, words are cool, you want to press that over your knee. And then shake it to get a nice air current in there and cool it off quick. Because if you try and blow on it, it's only going to blow off and then cool one piece. But you will notice that it actually starts to keep its shape. And see, now you have a nice dome in there. And it can actually fit over your shoulder. So we do that with both pieces, and you got to fidget with it until you get it to the place that you like. But the idea is to have both of these. See, this one's curved now, and this one's flat. We get those together, and then that beveled edge that I told you guys to do, that'll bring those two pieces together and give you a nice curve. Once you have the pieces cut out, and you have the beveled edge ready, a nice curve to it, hot glue is going to be your best friend to join these two pieces together. It works best on this kind of foam because it actually melts each piece together. It fuses them. So the two pieces are finished. Here's your forearm piece, and then here's the actual shoulder piece itself. You see that curve we were talking about? Glue those two pieces together, and speaking of glue, we had to cover this piece up, the seam, so that's where these thin little foam sheets came in handy. I just took a rectangle piece of it, and then I glued it down there, and I took some of the thicker foam from the mats, and then I cut this out from a rectangle so you actually see that inner piece right there. On the forearm piece, I did want to note that right here, I added a little flap. Because I'll actually have a piece of leather or a piece of belt just to go across there to give a little extra flair to it, I guess you'd say. But I also added this edge to it instead of just a flat piece for the forearm. So together, you look like that. You got the forearm piece, shoulder piece. There you go. You can also connect these two pieces together. What I'm going to do, I have a piece of, I guess you'd say industrial ribbon, kind of like what you'd use in one of the belts or whatever. And I'll actually attach 2 or 3 of the pieces to the inside of this forearm piece, and then attach that to the inside of the shoulder piece, so that it'll all be one piece together on your shoulder, and then you can move around still since it is the ribbon. It won't just be a rigid piece of armor. You could also go the way of actually attaching this straight across your shoulder if you just wanted the shoulder piece, and then you could do the same thing with this and actually attach that right to your bicep. And I also wanted to say that you can paint this whatever color you want. You can add whatever kind of designs. You don't have to go with the seam like this. You don't have to have this part where the belt's coming through. Just take it and make it your own. And hey guys, if you come up with an idea that you'd like to see me make, go ahead and put it in the comments section. I'd love to see it, and maybe we'll get to try it. Who knows? Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and for NerdSync Productions, I'm Josh. Thanks for joining us, and have a good day. We'll see you next time. Butcher that piece of foam into art. That was amazing. I have no idea what just came out of my mouth.